In this lesson, we will be learning to solve just some basic algebraic equations, two-step equations, some very basic ones to start and getting harder as we move on. So here's the very first one, 5x plus 2 equals 27. Of course, our goal is to balance these equations, and we want to isolate the part that has the x in it. So I want to get this part by itself first on one side of the equation, and anything else that's with it needs to be moved. So I need to move that positive 2, and to do that I am going to do the opposite and I am going to subtract 2. Okay, so of course those drop. I'll bring down the 5x, so I have 5x equals 27 minus 2, which we know is 25, and then I will get that x by itself. This is 5 times x. I will do the opposite of times, which of course is to divide. So divide both sides by 5, that drops, and 25 divided by 5 is 5. And of course you could plug that in and check your answer and do, does 5 times 5 plus 2 equal 27? And yes, 27 does equal 27. So I know I've got that correct. I am not going to expect you to check these, but if you would like to on a quiz or a test and make sure you're right, then go for it. All right, you try this one. So throughout this video, I'm going to give you some to try. If you would like, if you think you want to try some and get some extra practice, go for it. Hit pause, try it, and then you'll be able to check your answer. If not, just go ahead and fast forward this video to the next problem. But here's this one. All right, this time I've got the variable or the letter on the right side of the equation, but it's very similar. I want to isolate this, so I will subtract 5. That drops. 19 minus 5 is 14 equals 2 times y. I want to isolate that variable, so I will divide by 2, and I will have y equals 7. But of course, we'll clean this up and write it like that. Okay, so that's that one. Again, on this next one, go ahead and hit pause, try it, or fast forward. There you go. Okay. This one, just be really careful. This is the piece that I want to isolate. What people mess up on is they forget about this negative that's right there, so be really careful about that. Think about that as negative 5w, okay? Right now, it's not written, but this is a positive 8. To get rid of it, I need to make that 0, so I need to add a negative 8 to both sides, so that 8 plus negative 8 makes 0 over here, and that drops, so whoops. Okay, that drops. Make sure you bring down this negative sign right here. I have negative 5w. Negative 37 plus negative 8, we know comes out to be negative 45. And then divide by negative 5. A negative divided by a negative we know is positive, and that will become positive 9. Okay, again, either hit pause and try it or fast forward, whatever you think you need to do. All right, here, since you've got two negatives right in a row, it might be smarter to just do when you subtract a negative, it's the same thing as adding a positive. And so I can rewrite this as 12 equals 5 plus x. It is this x that I would like to isolate, so I will subtract 5. And of course, x equals 12 minus 5 is 7. And I'll clean that up to make it look like this. Again, pause or fast forward. All right, now we've got fractions. I do not want you to freak out about fractions, okay? We just can't have fraction phobia. But I still want to isolate this w right here. So I need to subtract 2/3 from both sides. Okay, now, luckily we've got this calculator that can help you with this, but I'm going to write this like this instead because I think it'll make it easier for you. If I need you to do this by hand, then remember that when we add and subtract fractions, we need common denominators. The common denominator between 7 and 3 would be 21. So I would want to multiply both of these by 3 and both of these by 7. And when I do that, I have 15 21sts minus 14 21sts. And 15 minus 14 is 1 21st. So w would be 1/21st. That's how you need to do it if you're going to do it longhand. If you want to use your calculator to help you figure out what 5/7 minus 2/3 is, the graphing calculators do not have fraction keys on them. So you're going to put that parentheses that I just pressed right there. And then to do that, what you need to do is you need to put the fraction in parentheses and use the divide key to do that. So you'll go 5 divided by 7 for your 5/7 minus, and then another set of parentheses, 2 divided by 3 for that one. Hit enter. Now you'll notice it'll probably spit it out as a decimal, but then you can hit the math key, which is right below that green alpha key, and then enter, enter, and then it will spit it out as a fraction for you. So if fractions totally freak you out, use your calculator to help you. All right, you can try this one or fast forward. This is really 7/5 plus 1/4. And so to get common denominators, if I was doing it by hand, I would multiply each of those by 4 and each of these by 5. And that's how I got the 28/20 plus the 5/20. All right. People mess this up all the time. This is a positive 3 right here. It's not written, but it is a positive 3. Lots of people want to pretend that this negative goes with the 3. The negative doesn't go with the 3. The negative goes with the 5x. So I want to make this 0 and subtract 3. 23 minus 3 we know is 20. Make sure you bring down this negative because this is negative 5x. Divide by negative 5. And x we know is negative 4. All right. Here's one for you to do. And I am going to do this one. Okay? So, on this one, I need to get this piece right here by itself. I will subtract 12. That will drop. Negative 7 minus 12 we know is negative 19. And over here, I have negative d over 6. Okay? Now, I want to get that negative d by itself. Right now, that's negative d divided by 6. I will do the opposite of dividing, so I will multiply by 6. And negative 19 times 6, I'm sorry, I'm getting all mixed up here. Negative 19 times 6 is 114, or negative 114. So I have negative d equals negative 19 times 6 is negative 114. Okay? Then, notice you have negative d, so I can divide by negative 1. That drops. A negative divided by negative positive is a positive, and I get positive 114 there. All right, here is one for you to try again. Okay, right here, just so you know, at this step, what I did is I multiplied both sides by negative 5. And so that those dropped right there. All right. This one is similar, okay? So I want to get this piece by itself since it has the variable with it. So I will subtract 6. And I will have 2/3 g equals negative 12 minus 6, which we know is negative 18. Some people struggle with having this fraction in front here. So you can divide by 2/3. And I'll do this a long way, and I'll do this a couple different ways, okay? So here's what you need to think about. If I take negative 18 and I divide it by 2/3, remember that dividing a fraction is the same thing as multiplying by its reciprocal. Okay? So when I'm dividing by a fraction, I multiply by its reciprocal. So when I multiply this, and this is, by the way, 18 over 1 right here, so I can reduce this and make this 1 and 9. And I will have negative 27 over 1, which is just simply negative 27. Okay? Some people, just to backtrack to show you a couple different ways to do this, if we were at the same spot where we were right here, some people would go, oh, well, I'll just multiply both sides by 3, and then I'll get 2g equals negative 54, and then divide by 2, and I will get negative 27, which is totally great too. That's totally fine. Some people will realize right away, um, here's another option, that I need to multiply by the reciprocal. So to make this 1, I need to multiply by 3 over 2. And they'll go like this right away. And that will drop, and life will be good. Either way, any way you want to do it is fine. You just have to be really careful when you've got that fraction in front. Here's one for you to try. Okay. Now this one's a little different. I do need to get this b by itself, but right now b plus 1 is all one entity and I can't split it. So this is not the same as b plus 1/3 equals 2 because that line goes all the way across. So be really careful about that. My suggestion to do would be to get rid of this 3 down here first. And so then I would multiply both sides by 3. That will drop. Okay, because right now it's divided by 3. I will do the opposite of dividing by 3, which is to multiply by 3. And then I will have b plus 1 equals 6. And I think you guys can all go from there. It's that first step that tends to get people. Okay, here's one for you to try, or forward. Ooh. Okay. Then we've got just a couple more here. On this one, I am going to, again, I need to get this quantity right here isolated. It is divided by negative 2 right now, so I'm going to do the opposite of dividing, which is to multiply. That will drop, and I will have 4b plus 8 equals negative 20. And then, of course, I'll solve from there. So I will subtract 8, and I will have 4b equals negative 28. Divide by 4, and b equals negative 7. By the way, you guys, the ones I've given you here all come out to be kind of pretty. They all come out to be whole numbers. They don't always come out to be whole numbers in either your homework or your accelerated math or real life. So just because you get a fraction for an answer doesn't necessarily mean that you did it wrong, okay? And I want you to just kind of beware of that. For instance, in this particular one here. Okay, a couple things. First of all, I changed this to plus a plus, and that's why it's plus right here. First step, I multiplied by negative 8. That drops, and that's how I got 32 equals 7x plus 1. Then, of course, I subtracted 1, and I divided both sides by 7. And I got 31/7 for an answer, which would lead many people to believe they did it wrong, but they did not. So just be aware that that will probably happen to you.